So what's being represented here as core emanations from the Godhead, from the One, from the unified source of all being, is it splits into two, masculine and feminine, but also into consciousness and energy. This is a very deep and profound teaching from one of our classical earthly traditions. So when we look at this consciousness and energy formula, that's what becomes, when we turn this into a course of study, the consciousness becomes spiritual science, and the energy becomes vibrational science. Now, we always need to bear in mind that what's actually standing behind spiritual science is an emanation of the Godhead, an emanation of the divine. The pure consciousness field of the divine is what creates our consciousness. So spiritual science is coming from that source. Vibrational science is the manifestation of the Shakti, of the understanding of the transmission of divine energy. What you find in people's spiritual and energetic evolution is the more that they focus their attention on the divine source of things, the more the quality of their spiritual and energetic work improves. If we do energetic practices as a purely mechanical activity, as it's commonly taught today, then that's going to keep us at a certain level of functioning. If we're just a type of etheric engineer, we'll be at a particular level of functioning, but it'll go to a higher state if we bear in mind that there is actually a being behind it, a being that's an emanation of the great being that created the universe. So I have a summary for you on page 2 that says spiritual science aims toward the elimination of our consciousness and the activation of our full spiritual potential and destiny. Vibrational science aims toward the optimization of our energetic foundation, which is what our consciousness rests on. This energetic foundation is what's going to determine if our consciousness is clear or distorted or sleeping or awakened. So if there are great difficulties in a person's physical and vibrational, their etheric life body, it's going to be very hard to have the higher bodies work with higher level practices. Just like if you're feeling very sick, it's going to be hard to do higher level spiritual practices. If your energetic body is very unstable, it's going to be hard to hold the higher state that is required for higher level spiritual practices. What's referred to in India as the sattvic state. You have to have a calm in the physical and energetic bodies to get to this higher sattvic level. So classical traditions have always had ways to work with the resources of nature to be able to heal and balance and calm both the lower vehicles as well as the higher parts of our structure. And we'll talk about that a bit later today when we talk about some classical Taoist herbal formulas for this, and also things as far as mineral resources that are related to this type of healing and balancing of the human subtle bodies. Let's go ahead and turn to page 3 and just do a quick review for the model we're going to use in this class of the 5-level model of human structure. You will find different models in different spiritual traditions. The core spiritual science class that we offer at the Vesca Institute is called Essential Teachings and Practices. It's an online class that you can take at any time. One of the things that we cover in that is some of the different structural models of different traditions. Now, one of the things I'm describing in another online class that some of you are taking currently, which is the one on the universal vibrational spectrum. In that particular online class, I'm describing what I refer to as the number prism. The number prism is that when you examine any system, you can divide that system into a certain number of parts. And the number of parts you divide the system into will reveal certain things hidden in that system, or it may obscure certain things in that system. So for example, in the universal vibrational spectrum class, we describe the system of division into 2 with yin and yang, the division into 3 with the 3 doshas in the Ayurvedic system, the division into 4 with the 4 elements in the Western system, the division into 5, and other forms of division in different systems to understand how things are structured. So it's like breaking up white light in a prism. By breaking up white light in a prism, you end up with clarity on certain things that were hidden inside that unity. And the number that you apply to it actually becomes that dividing lens that helps you focus on something. So for simplicity in this class, we're going to divide the structure of the human being into 5 parts. At the highest level, we have our spiritual essence, our divine essence. That's what is actually a direct emanation from the Godhead. In the Jewish Kabbalistic tradition, they describe the Godhead as being an ocean of fire that is pure consciousness. Every ensouled spiritual being is given one spark from the ocean of fire of the Godhead. That divine spark is what you see in multiple traditions. In the Indian tradition, there is a rebirth ritual that is shown with a flame above the head. In the Christian esoteric tradition, at Pentecost, the disciples are shown with the flame above the head. This flame is the divine flame, the divine spark within every conscious spiritual being. Not all beings have a divine spark. The ones that are immortal have the divine spark. They also have mind power. Just as the Godhead uses its consciousness, its mind power, to create all the beings on the lower planes, so all the beings that have received a flame of the divine, including the human being, also have mind power. Our mind power allows us to create other types of spiritual beings, or thought forms. So in both spiritual and vibrational work, our thought forms can be used for healing, or they can be used for hurting, they can be used for destruction. And most people are not conscious of the thought forms, or what in classical traditions they refer to as elemental beings, that we're creating all the time, with either the skillful or unskillful use of our thoughts and our emotions. So at this spirit essence level, that's our divine spark. That's what gives us mind power. That's what gives us creative ability. Then at the next level that we're going to be describing in this class, the spiritual has many levels, but for simplicity we'll keep it just here at spirit essence. We then move to the mental level, sometimes referred to as the mental plane, the mental body. And in some traditions, this is referred to as the higher aspect of the astral plane. Sometimes it's the higher astral. Then, the next level, as we move toward dense physicality, we have the emotional body. This is sometimes referred to as the lower astral. Now, when they use the term astral, this is not an abstraction. The term astral comes from the root term aster, meaning star. And so it has to do with the human star body. All of the human bodies have to come from somewhere. If we have a physical body, where did the physical body come from? In India, the term in Sanskrit for the human physical body is the sheath made of food, because that's where it comes from. Physical food, physical substance, becomes our physical body. The food that our mother took in while we were in the womb forms the foundation of our physical body. And to some degree, what the Chinese call the gene, fundamental essence of the body. Then, once we are a child, we're drinking the mother's milk, we start eating solid food, we're taking in food ourselves. So the physical body that we have is detached from the physical plane. After death, the physical body, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, will go back to the physical plane. If we have an astral body, it had to come from somewhere. It came from the astral plane. It's a detachment of the astral plane. Just like I've taken a detachment of the physical plane, and higher beings have formed it into the form of a physical body that my spirit can inhabit until physical death occurs. So my astral body has also been formed by higher beings to be what my spirit consciousness has been put into. And when I experience it as mental activity and emotional activity. That's why it's called higher and lower astral.